You're watching Coffee on the Coast. Good afternoon and welcome to this episode of Coffee on the Coast. I'm your host today, Tina Prigge, and we are so fortunate to have as our guests Kao Nu Hang Vu and Julia Lee. Julia Lee is with the Manitowoc Public Library, and we are talking about a special exhibit. It is Hmongment in Time, Hmongment in History.
Yes.
Okay, Hmongment in History that is ongoing at the Manitowoc Public Library. Ladies, welcome to the show. It is so good to see you, and you look so beautiful.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tina.
So, Kanu, I know that this exhibit is one of your passions. You have put a lot of effort into curating this. Tell us more about what this exhibit is, what it exemplifies, what people can learn about the history.
So this exhibit is really important because it really showcases the history of the Hmong people. It tells everybody why we're here in the United States. And I think that's a really important question that a lot of people don't know the answer to. And so this exhibit explains it all. It explains where Hmong people came from, what happened during the Vietnam War, and what happened to the Hmong people afterwards and why we're here in the United States.
And it's so important, I think, to remember that history, and for those who have never heard the history, to learn the history, and even just for that sense of pride, right? Like the next generation of Hmong that are coming up in the community to know that history is of such value. So I'm going to put up this graphic because this is currently on exhibit at the Manitowoc Public Library. There was a grand opening on May 14th, but the exhibit runs through June 4th, and I definitely think that this is something you'll want to see. Let's tell viewers that May 14th was actually proclaimed as Hmong American Day in the city of Manitowoc, and that's one of the reasons why the grand opening ceremony was on that date. Do you want to tell viewers a little bit about that ceremony?
So this past Saturday from 10 until 12, we had a lot of Hmong performers come in and kind of showcase their talents. We had Mr. Tao who came in and did Hmong chanting for us. We had Mr. Yang who came in and played the thing for us. We have Ms. Mara Lee who came in and sang a song for us in both Hmong and English. Mr. Tao also gave us a magic show.
It's so cute.
And then Mrs. Katie Tao showed us how to do a Hmong circle dance. And so everybody was invited onto the stage and we were able to participate in a line dance. And then we had 11 little girls show us a Hmong dance. And they were the smallest girls in the world, but they were so talented.
All right, that is fantastic. And I've seen some pictures from the event, like from a tiny little tot that was wearing traditional Hmong clothing, all the way up. So it's fantastic. This is an exhibit that can be appreciated by anyone in the community. Julia, you were there that day. What was your impression?
Oh my goodness. It was just wonderful to see the community come together because we were estimating afterwards, I think we had about 200 people come. And we had Hmong community members and non-Hmong community members all coming together to celebrate the history, to celebrate Hmong culture, and to celebrate this vital part of the Lakeshore community. And I have to tell you that Canu's mother made some fantastic food. That was probably one of my highlights of the day. There were homemade egg rolls and homemade coconut sticky rice. It was just fantastic. And we had Pa of Pa's Bakery donate cakes, which were just wonderful. So it was a true celebration. I was saying it was a true party and a true celebration of Hmong culture that could be enjoyed by everyone in the community. I did learn the circle dance as well, so I felt really excited to be able to be a part of that. And it was just wonderful. I was telling Canu throughout this whole process between the exhibits last year and this year, I have learned so much. And even in school, I hadn't learned very much about the Vietnam War. I feel like that's something that in my schooling, we kind of missed out on. And so to learn about the secret war and all the sacrifices the Hmong people made in support of America, I think is so important. And it's just wonderful to be able to be grateful for that and to really celebrate all the aspects of our wonderful, diverse community.
Oh, you really summed that up so well, Julia. I really love that. I'm going to replay that again and again because that is so important. And I truth, and full disclosure here, I have had the pleasure of eating Kao Nu's homemade egg rolls, and they are outstanding.
Changes your life.
And Kao Nu, I've seen the sticky rice that's purple. How is that accomplished? Do you know?
So there's actually the rice that we use for the purple sticky rice. It's actually purple, and so when it comes, it's actually purple. If you use other kinds of rice, you do have to dye it. The one that my mom made for Saturday, it was green, and I think she had to use some pandan flavoring and coloring to achieve that, and then she added coconut to make it taste better and like a little bit richer taste.
So talking about your mom, what was it like for your parents to come to this exhibit and to see, this celebration of their culture?
So my parents were too busy to actually go through the exhibit. But when I first told my dad about the exhibit coming here, he thought it was just the most important thing. And he told me, he's like, Canoe, you have to do a good job because this is everybody finding out about who we are. This is the first time this exhibit has been in the state of Wisconsin, and it's coming to Manitowoc. And he's like, you're in charge. So this has to be, done well. And, he threw his support into whatever I was doing. He's like, what do you need? What kind of performers do you want? What do you want us to do? And so both of my parents just, gave me their 100% support. And I know that I wouldn't have been able to do this grand opening ceremony without them because my parents were up at 4 a.m. I was still sleeping. I slept until 6 because I was up late the night before preparing. But my parents woke up at 4 a.m. to start cooking and making sure everything was ready. They got the food here at 10 o'clock. They got dressed. They came and supported me. So, yeah, they just think it's the most important thing.
That's fantastic. So you guys are dressed beautifully today. Can you tell viewers a little bit about what we're seeing? I noticed the hats are different, your necklaces are different. Tell us more about this.
So Julia is very, very, very modern. If you look at her outfit, she's got lace sleeves. She's got lots of dangly things on her necklace. She has a turban on, which is very easy. It's just a hat. You don't have to actually wrap it on. For my outfit, this is kind of like a modern take on a very traditional outfit. And I would say that about my silver necklace as well. We use a lot of the black velvet for our clothes, but my trim is very modern. It's very light, it's very fitted, and my hat is actually a very simple, easy hat versus if you actually had to put it on yourself. So each layer that you see on my hat here, if I actually had to put it on myself, you would actually have to layer each layer. And I think there's like 30 some layers or something. But lucky me, I have a hat where I can just put it on. And these hats tell you kind of like what kind of Hmong you are. And so, nowadays you kind of just mix and match and you kind of put whatever looks good or whatever you think looks good together. Back traditionally, you would wear the outfit from where you are, and your hat, your skirt, your shirt, your apron, your necklace, everything kind of comes from where you come from. But nowadays we all mix and match and we just look good.
So you used to be able to look at what someone was wearing and identify their affiliation from that.
Yes. There is actually a Hmong artist who put together some drawings of both men and women, and he kind of tells you what location Hmong people are from or what kind of Hmong you are. And so there is information out there. You just have to dig for it, and it is all of the traditional Hmong outfits. So they're very plain, and you can really tell which Hmong you are and where you are from the country of Laos.
Oh, so interesting. And I should say, I should let viewers know that Kaunu, thanks to you and some of your friends, we did a little video about Hmong fashion. And if you want to check it out, go to coolestcoast.com/Hmong and there's more information and a link to that video. You guys, it was just so beautiful. I really enjoyed that.
It was so fun.
So the exhibit, it's cool because not only are you talking about history, but there's some modern aspects. So let's talk a little bit about the story cloths and how there's even a version of the story cloth that's built out of Legos. I love that.
So for this exhibit, I really wanted the history of the Hmong people to be the main focal point, but we added a couple of artifacts that were kind of really cool. One of them is from Pastor Greg Rhodes from Minnesota, and he actually took a Hmong story cloth and he created a 3D version of it using Legos. And it is the coolest thing in the world. Whether you're a Lego fan, a kid, an adult, it is the coolest thing in the world. So if you don't really want to come and read about the history, come and take a look at the 3D Lego.
Nice. Kanya, when you were curating this exhibit, is there something new that you learned or discovered or that surprised you?
I think everybody out there is just so nice because the other artifact that I have, it's information on strings. And there's a shaman. He goes by the Facebook name of Hey Billy. So I contacted him out of the blue. I follow him on Facebook, and I said, "Hey, I'd really like to include this in an exhibit that we have coming up for the Manitowoc Public Library. Can I use it?" And he replied back. He's like, "Sure, use it. Let me know how it goes." And then for some reason, the other day, right after the opening ceremony, I had a run to Eau Claire for a retirement party, and I met him there. And I shared with him that I'm the crazy person that probably contacted you a couple months ago and asked you if I could use your strings information for our exhibit. And I'm like, I'm that girl. And so I tagged him on Facebook and I took a picture with him, and then I shared the artifacts with him on Facebook too. So I think everybody out there is just so nice. Everybody who, whether they have a hand in, like the Hmong culture or just is really interested, everybody out there is really nice. So just, random strangers, just contacting them, they're all very supportive.
So I'm going to put up this placard again, letting people know it's called Hmongment in History. It's a Hmong cultural exhibit, and it is currently on display at the Manitowoc Public Library through June 4th. It's set up, Julia, right in the main entrance, right? So right when you walk in, it's right there. There's no fee to see it. It is, just walk in and at your convenience, browse through, learn everything you can. What else would you want people to know?
Well, you hit it on the head. It's absolutely free. Just like everything at your public library, come on in. Everybody is welcome to see it. Whether you know a lot about Hmong history, whether you've never learned about Hmong history, it's a wonderful exhibit to just immerse yourself in learning a really important part or revisiting a really important part of our history. And it has some really fantastic cultural items as well. Some beautiful outfits on display, some very modern outfits on display. They're gorgeous. In addition to the Lego story cloth, which is fantastic. And it's a really great honor for the Manitowoc Public Library to be able to have this display. And yes, we put it down there right center stage. It's got the river as the backdrop, so it's a wonderful setting, and anyone is welcome to come in. Everyone is welcome to come in, learn something, and walk away with an appreciation for Hmong history and Hmong culture.
Yeah, so important. And Kaunu, I think you were saying Paul Lore is your uncle. He actually wrote a book about the journey here, and it's called Modern Jungles. Is it available at the library? Is that
It
something
sure
available
is.
for checkout?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, that's a brilliant combination. So if you haven't already read this book, you can check it out at the Manitowoc Public Library. It's called Modern Jungles by Paul Lore. Kaunu, anything else you'd want to tell viewers about that?
I just want to say, everybody come down to the Manitowoc Public Library, take a look at the exhibit before it goes, and just come and take a look at the Lego set. Find out all about about the Hmong people. And I know that there are some videos floating on Facebook of the dancers and of the event. So try to find those if you missed the event and you want to see what happened.
Yeah, awesome. Well, ladies, thank you so much for joining us on Coffee on the Coast and telling us about this incredible opportunity. Again, viewers, it is on display at the Manitowoc Public Library through June 4th. Definitely make sure you take this in. You're not going to want to miss it. Julia Lee, Kao Nu Hang Vu, thank you so much for joining us today on Coffee on the Coast.
Thanks, Tina.
Thank you.